And the height is going to be 3'10". I've been a crime scene investigator for 8 years, going on 9 years now. I wanted to come to crime scene and be a CSI because I knew some of the men and women that were over here. They were sharp, they were intelligent, I'd seen them on scenes before when I was on patrol. They were hard workers. And I knew that this was the type of field that you really could never master. There's new technologies, there's new techniques that come out that you have to stay abreast of. And so it was a field that I could come into and not get quickly bored of. Any possible signs of trauma anywhere?
No.
I didn't think so.
So I'm not sure where the blood's coming from yet. He could just, if it is, it's just a tiny little cut somewhere.
Yeah.
I didn't feel anything. There's no fractures. There's no obvious holes or anything. Anywhere.
No, his hands look good. His body looks good.
Yeah. It looks like he just ended up in there.
Over the last couple of weeks, I responded to 4 scenes. The first scene was a scene where an adult male was found inside a dumpster. He was obviously found to be deceased. And so myself and another CSI were dispatched to that scene. And ultimately our goal was just to document the scene, conduct our investigation, conduct a search, and examine any potential items of evidence to see if there was foul play involved. Was the adult male murdered? Was it a medical issue? Was it a natural death? Ultimately, the medical examiner, they have to finish concluding their investigation, and we'll know for certain once we hear the final results from them. As a CSI, your job doesn't end at the scene. Once you're done performing your investigation, which could be anywhere from 4 hours to 8 hours to 12 hours, once you're done with your investigation at the scene, you're then tasked with bringing all of that evidence that you collected back to the lab. We don't have lab personnel in here who you just hand off your evidence to. As the CSI, as the lead investigator, you're the one that's charged with photographing all the evidence that you need to photograph, with inventorying all your evidence, with extracting any potential DNA evidence from it, with examining it for whatever you may be looking for, hair fibers, blood, semen, saliva, whatever the case may be. We use just an array of chemicals, solutions that we have in the laboratory that help us to process items, porous and non-porous items, and then photographing any potential fingerprints that develop on that. And again, this is something you're doing as the assigned investigator. The same person that was out there photographing the scene and collecting measurements. This is all you doing all that back here at the lab. This profession, it's obviously a bit dark. There are a lot of stressors in this line of work, in law enforcement in general, but certainly as a CSI. Obviously, we're around a lot of death, but it does have its high moments. When you're in court and you're testifying to a murder, knowing that you played a critical role in helping bringing someone to justice, maybe giving some closure to the family. That's certainly a rewarding aspect of the job. And I always tell people it's hard to unsee what you've seen. Once you've seen it, it's hard to erase some of those images from your mind. The only way I'm able to deal with the stressors of this job, with the dynamic environment, with the death, is just knowing ultimately who I am in my faith, and that sustains me on so many different levels. And it helps me to do what I have to do at a scene and still go home and strive as best I can to be a good husband, to be a good father to my kids. Because you have to learn to turn it off, and it's not easy.